Goldilocks and the Three Bears. I've got to say, if you've ever been to one of those websites where people pick apart the plot holes in stories, do not put time travel in your movie if you want to avoid being on one of these places. But anyway, I'm thinking you're going to find a lengthy section on Goldilocks, but we'll suspend our disbelief in favor of snarky comments instead, because that's more fun. One morning, a family of bears whips up some porridge for breakfast, but goes a little overboard on the temperature. Rather than barbecue their tongues, they head off for a stroll in the woods to give everything a chance to cool down. As they're tromping through the forest, however, high drama is underway back at their house. A golden-tressed young lass wanders up to the door, rings the bell, and waits patiently on the stoop. When nobody answers in 5 seconds, she whips out the crowbar stashed under her jumper and says, "Make way for Mama." Once inside, Goldilocks heads straight for the kitchen, finding the bear's porridge waiting in 3 bowls. She tries Papa Bear's bowl first, but scalds her tongue and declares that the porridge is too hot. She then samples Mama Bear's porridge, which, through a strange feat of thermodynamics, is too cold. Undeterred, Goldie then tries Baby Bear's fare, finds it to be just right, and wolfs down the entire bowl. Of course, since porridge is utterly disgusting and was only invented to be fed to children as a punishment, Goldilocks immediately barfs all over the kitchen floor. And while we're at it, anybody who thinks Little Miss Muffet was eating curds and whey by choice, well, that's crazy. I guarantee you that tuffet is some made-up British word for time-out chair. With breakfast complete, Goldilocks moseys into the living room to sit down and take a load off. She plunks herself down in Papa Bear's lazy boy first, but it turns out to be too big. Mama Bear apparently got a discount on a jumbo-sized recliner too, and her chair also proves to be too large. Now, I've never heard of a chair being too big being a problem. Having a chair that was too small seems like it would be a more pressing issue, but anyway. Finally, Goldilocks tries Baby Bear's seat. It turns out to be just right, but Goldilocks' pleasure is short-lived when the chair collapses, probably because of all of that porridge. She makes a mental note that next time she should try breaking into a house with a treadmill. Having now invested at least 5 minutes of effort into this B&E, Goldilocks is completely exhausted and ready for a nap. Her first attempt at locating a bed lands on a mattress that is too hard. She then switches from Papa to Mama Bear's bed. Separate beds in this house, the bears must have been fans of the Dick Van Dyke Show, and that turns out to be too soft. Baby Bear's bed is once again just right, and Goldilocks starts sawing logs. Right about now, the bears come back from their walk, making the unpleasant discovery that they've been burgled. Baby Bear's stress at seeing his breakfast gone and chair obliterated only gets magnified when he discovers that Goldilocks has parked her rump on his mattress. "Someone's been sleeping in my bed, and the lady's still there," he exclaims. Then, and here you should take a deep breath and strap yourself in for what Chris Harrison would call the most dramatic climax in literary history, Goldilocks wakes up and leaves the house. Story over.